gonna throw something out here about our guy, the hyphen. Does he have a nickname? Ryan, have they gotten around to giving Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a nickname? I know Malik Andrews has been trying to get this Shea Butter thing cracking, which not bad. But does he have like a nickname?
I wouldn't say he is known by a specific nick. I mean, there's
Are you asking Perplexity?
I'm not asking Perplexity. I was looking at, you know how a Basketball Reference has all the silly ones? I was looking there, and he doesn't even have any of the silly ones yet.
Yo, so my question about that with Basketball Reference is, can anybody do it? Because I'd be looking up there and feeling like, yo,
Wikipedia sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, but at least the Wikipedia has a bunch of people who moderate and like try to make sure that it's on point.
Yeah, all offense, no defense.
Yeah. Like Basketball Reference just put anybody on, just throw anything out there, right? But Ryan threw this stat out here for me that he has become one of 12 players ever to score a combined 3,000 points between the regular season and the postseason. That is some pretty rarefied air. The more I watch, the more I realize, like specifically, he's a dude that can get his own shot at just about any time. Forget about the free throw stuff. He can still get his own shot. In fact, the ability to get his own shot is what makes it so unseemly that they be out there looking like a goddamn stunt man, right? Like it's wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I feel like? I feel like it would be better if them cats was on that foul merchant if it was wrestling, because then everybody's on the same team. Like, Ryan, I don't know how much wrestling you watched when you was a kid, but I'm going to be honest. I look at you and you look like you watched a lot.
I am not fluent in wrestling, but I'm certainly, I am native.
Okay.
I know the big storylines. I know the big persons. I can make
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the thing I remember about wrestling, because I think I told you my siblings are much older than me, right? Which means that they are really big on ruining everything for you as a kid. Not ruin it for you like to break your heart, but just they hit you
just
with a little
introducing
bit of that
cynicism too early.
Yes, there we go. This is exactly it. That is what they're going for, right? So in wrestling, it was kind of a famous Jones family story once that my dad was a little flummoxed by how much my brother was into wrestling. And so one day he took him to the wrestling show, right? And he was like, okay, well, you will certainly see that what the real deal is. You'll understand. And it said they went to the wrestling show and they watched it the whole way, and they were walking back and they weren't saying anything. And my daddy felt satisfied that he had done his job as a proper parent. And my brother looked at him and said, "See, Daddy, I told you it was real." And he was just like, damn, right? He was so sure that he had brought it home.
I will say I did see SmackDown here a couple of years ago. Yes. When John Cena came out, they certainly thought it was real. That was a top 5 pop I've ever heard in my life.
They think it's real. So the thing is, the way you get a kid to understand that wrestling is not real is you watch it without volume, because they do so many tricks with noise and sound, and the mat makes so much noise or whatever. They do all that, and that sells the idea. So like when them dudes throw punches, you don't just throw a punch at somebody, you throw a punch and then you step on the ground at the same time, and then Buddy throws his head back, right? Everybody's in on it, okay? So if this was like some maybe Harlem Grove try to shit, and Shea and Jalen Brunson, them cats was doing all this right here, and the other guy was in on it, then it might be a little bit cooler. It might be more dramatic. Instead, you look like a sucker. But anyway, it's offensive because he's so cold that he does not need to behave in such ways, right? Like, I've always been okay with LeBron doing a little bit of flopping, because otherwise they just be knocking the shit out of him all the time. You'd never be able to tell it was a flop. Shaq didn't do nearly enough of it, and that's why he almost had to kill Brad Miller, because they just be out there walloping them cats, right? But with Shai, he can get his own shot at any point. That shot that he missed at the end of game 1 was a great shot. He just happened to miss it, okay? And so as I'm watching this game, and I'm realizing to myself, I'm saying this dude ain't a superstar because I say it don't feel to me like he's a superstar. And the only reason I think, the more that I think about it, that it doesn't feel to me that he's a superstar is that I have not seen him do it in the times and places that we consider superstars to be superstars, right? Like, when is the moment that you need a dude to step up? A game like game 2 is one that, if you choose to, becomes an example of a dude stepping up like a superstar. The problem is the big underdog won game one on the road. And so it is our reasonable expectation that you're going to get a big game from the favorite and then they're going to walk. And that is exactly what happened here, right? But what is clear is that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander can be the best player on a championship team. It is clearer to me that he could be that guy than it is with Haliburton. Like, it's actually kind of funny in that can he be or is he a superstar conversation? We got to arguing about it with Haliburton. I don't even think that we put it before the committee with Shai. Like, did we do that? Is it just because he won the MVP that it became a matter that we did not need to discuss and they could do what they call that? Auto sign? Is that what it called? You know what I'm saying? Where you just do a bunch of them at one time. We don't even need to talk about it with Shai. Me and Trey, but I thought about it. Like when me and Trayvon were talking about it on Wednesday of last week, it felt like it was a bit in the air. And then I'm like, yo, this is actually low-key crazy talk to put it in that place. The reason that we have not quite put him in superstar place is because they are kicking everybody's asses. Like, that is the irony of this discussion. They are 18-2 this season, the Thunder are, when they are coming off of a loss. Of those 18, 12 of them are by double digits. We have watched this team smack people up and down in the course of this postseason, right? Look, they closed out Minnesota with a 30-point win, right? They started that series. Let me do my math here. That one was 26. They put it on about 15 a game after that. They closed out the Nuggets by beating them by 30-something points. Then another game where they beat the Nuggets by 30-something points. Look, dog, they've been doing this. They've been doing that. You can't be the best player on a team like that and not have some legitimate superstar bona fides, no matter how it quote unquote feels to somebody like me. It cannot be that, especially for me, at least, as the more and more I watch this, the Thunder got to handle low spades. Like, I think the day will come where Chet Holmgren will be not just an all-star. I think he is going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Like, I've been a Chet guy, a big guy since he was in college. I think he's going to wind up being that guy. But Jalen Williams, 5 for 14. That's not really bringing the heat. Now, is it? 5 for 14.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're talking first finals, tertiary piece. But if you're looking at a guy who's going to be SGA's running mate for the next 5 to 10 years, as people project the Thunder's success going forward, he's going to have to be better if they're going to put that sort of run together.
Look, they won 60-something games with one guy that you can count on, and they made it to the finals, and they were smoking people with one guy that you can count on. Like, in my understanding of basketball and the way it's always been, that tells me that I need to give a little bit more credit to that one guy, especially considering while he's doing that, the dude that we arguing about whether or not he's a superstar, who I have lots of good things to say about, he went out there and put out another, you could have been worse, but you definitely could have been better sort of game. Now, what I don't have a great handle on right now is exactly how this series is going to go. And the reason I say that is Oklahoma City has smoked Indiana basically. I think they've been up for basically the entirety of this series, except for like 0.3 of a second, because the Pacers only had the lead for the last 0.3 of a second in game one. And then we see how this played out in game two. However, that is also the same way, by and large, it felt with the Pacers in that Knicks series. Like, the issue with the Pacers, and I really don't like this about them, just so you know this, they'll never give up. And, I mean, if I rooted for the Pacers, I would like the fact that they would never give up. But sometimes I like a good blowout so I can go do something else. I was really busy this week. I was tired as hell. You know what I'm saying? When the Thunder's up by like 20 points in the first half, I'm feeling like, okay, cool, maybe we can do something else. If you can't do that, because it was the Pacers. In fact, the Pacers had me at a point in that first half where the Thunder was up by 20. The Pacers did a couple shots. I sent a text to my buddy Vinny, and I sent a text to my brother Trayvon in another group chat, and I was like, Pacers about to have this as a 10-point game. They ain't have it at no goddamn 10-point game. That is not what happened at all. But I had to assume that was going to happen because that's what they be doing. So at no point are you ever able to feel like they're not going to be able to get it, right? It's not that. But I do think after 2 games, we got a pretty good feeling, at least, of who the better team is. Now, who's going to win it is his own discussion. But I feel like we got a decent feeling about who the better team is. Okay? And now we're going to see how this goes in game 3, right? We're going to see how this plays out. I think it's safe to say if Oklahoma City wins game 3, this is over. It may not be over in 5 or anything like that, but they're going to win this. If Indiana gets game 3, then we're going to learn a lot about the constitution of the Thunder because it's still Alex Caruso and a bunch of very, very, very young dudes. Not that the Pacers are out here looking like the 2006 Miami Heat, but it's still a squad with like a bunch of young guys. And we're going to have to see how they hold it together. We're going to see how it is that they come together and how they bring it together. And I think obviously they still have a very good chance to pull that off. They obviously still have a very good chance to make it happen, but it's still a lot that we're going to have to see, right? Like I asked this question, and I do think who your number 2 option matters. Who would you rather have as your number 2 player, Siakam or Chet or Jalen Williams? I'd much rather have Siakam. That being said, I was really paying attention to it in game 1. And we've talked a lot about the Thunder and they playing that 48 minutes of hell, right? The Thunder got me thinking about that scene in The Wire in season 1 when Avon is in there with his uncle and his uncle's all messed up or whatever. And Avon's talking about how, if you're going to be in the game, you always got to be on point. You can't be slow. You can't be late. But he's like, how are you never going to be a little bit slow? How are you never going to be a little bit late? Like, how can you be on point at all times? That is what it's got to feel like playing against the Thunder, because I have never seen a team that tries to rip every time the ball is available. I have never seen a team with a clearer ethos of rips. They just rip, right? Ripping is not the same as hacking. They're going for the ball every time. You can never forget about bringing the ball below your waist. It feels like you can't bring the ball below the letters. Yes, I know the letters is a baseball term, but they got letters on basketball jerseys too. Anytime that ball comes down, them cats are trying to take it from you. That has got to be so exhausting, the level of focus that you have to truly never, ever be a little bit slow or a little bit late.
And it's all of them. It's Dort, it's Wallace, it's Caruso. I mean, when SGA is your worst defender by a wide margin, it is
your 6'6" point guard with crazy long arms, right? That's the least of your options. No. Like the Pacers, I would not say the Pacers have to play perfectly to win this series, but they might want to give that a try. It's their best chance.